my name is Augie Camacho Rebello, and I have been working at Everyday Music since 2001, so almost 17 years. I come from Southern California, so I was working in a record store in San Diego, and was seeing a guy at the time who was from the Pacific Northwest, wanted to come back real bad, and I wanted to get out of San Diego. So I left that record store job, came up here, wasn't wanting to work retail again, and then after a month and a half, missed working at a record store, so I applied here, and I applied at Ozone Records back in the day, and got hired at both places, but stuck with Everyday. And I've been here ever since. I would say when I first started, we were not paying a whole lot of attention to vinyl in general. We still bought it, and we had it priced at very, very reasonable prices. But the majority of our business at that time, 2001, was definitely CDs and DVDs. It's hard to say when there was a real turn, but I would say definitely around 2009, 2010, vinyl sales started picking up slowly but surely, enough so that we noticed that there was a momentum happening in that particular product as we started seeing major declines, first in DVDs and then eventually in CDs. Probably I would say for the last 3 years, the majority of our business at this point is all vinyl, mainly new at this location, and used vinyl, with CDs still kind of holding on and DVDs kind of not. I would say our most popular DVD section is our 50-cent DVDs because everything's streaming now, but Record Store Day, we in particular kind of used it as a way for us to kind of boost just our profile, try to carry as much of those exclusives as we possibly could. The first few years were really, really successful for us. We kind of started having bands playing on Record Store Day as well. And it started out really strong. As the major labels kind of had a bigger foot in what was coming out that day, things kind of took a turn. It's definitely about more on what they're choosing to put out. I feel like there's a lot of mistakes that big major labels make that are just kind of cyclical. It's just the difference is the format now. But the same mistakes they were making with CDs, they're making with vinyl, and the same mistakes they were making with vinyl back in the day, they're still making with vinyl. But overall, I mean, I feel like we use Record Store Day just as kind of a way to try to make our customers happy, bring in as much product as we can that we think that they would be interested in, and just kind of get as many local people that have shopped in the store and been part of the community to come in and just play for the customers or sign records for customers and DJ for the customers. And overall, we try to keep the whole day real positive, just in general for the music scene. And there's so many record stores in town, and some of them choose to bring in a few titles, some of them choose not to bring in anything. But I just think if the spirit of the day is, if you have a record store in your town, go visit that record store, then it's successful, I think, in that respect, for sure. I feel like with the onset of streaming and kind of a feeling of, I would say, bad taste a lot of newer bands have as far as signing to a label, most people will at this point try to release their stuff digitally. And then if there is a want for it, they'll start fishing out places that will press a limited amount of vinyls here or a limited amount of vinyl there. I don't disagree with that statement. I don't think in general singles sell very well for record stores. But I would say that like the hit makers right now it's certainly a singles kind of a market for sure. It's hard to pick an album that has had consistent hits on it as opposed to an artist who has had a real big hit with a record for sure. It certainly works that way for a lot of bands digitally, and I feel like that especially will help smaller labels kind of notice. But yeah, in general, the things that don't sell for us at this location are 7-inch singles and 12-inch singles. That's not to say that those things don't help sell other things in the store. The majority of things at this location that you will see getting some kind of traffic will be anything that's featured on Pitchfork, anything that's featured on NPR, and pretty much anything that comes out of the Pacific Northwest, it's going to sell in a record store in the Pacific Northwest, for sure. What makes it difficult is we don't have anything computerized at this store. So when we order new product, it's basically us just taking a chance on a particular artist. But a lot of that is the work that the band does to either get exposed, get put on this website or that website, or get enough people going to their SoundCloud or their Bandcamp accounts and taking a listen to some things. It's just a strange time because there's so much information out there for so many different bands. It makes ordering a little bit more difficult, but there are certain key things that will drive us to order things, which is basically like radio spots, TV spots, websites that are promoting a certain album, shows that are coming into town locally, especially at this particular location because the Crystal Ballroom is right across the street from us. Not only do we try to stock the musicians that are playing over there, but we oftentimes get visited by the people that are playing across the street. So we would like to try to keep them in good terms and happy and seeing their product in our store for sure. Especially because we're so close to Powell's Books, and people oftentimes walk into Powell's and are like, I didn't know places like this existed. They'll do the same thing to this store. And in that context, yeah, it's really hard to go to a city and see record stores that are this size for sure. This particular location is about 10 to 11,000 square feet. And back home where I'm from in San Diego, I think the largest record store we have there is probably maybe 1,500, maybe 3,000 square feet. So yeah, it's definitely odd. And it's odd to live in a city where there's so many of us. But I think all the stores here, including our larger stores that are, our large stores that are in two different locations in Portland, they serve the community pretty well. There's a lot of stores in this town in particular that are doing really good things for their community. Beacon Sound is just one of them that they're really embedded in what they're doing in their area. They have a slew of local musicians that they support that they often will have inside of the store. And that thing I think is rad. I just think it's great for a mom and pop to like this band and feel like, hey, the local record store has this band playing. Let's take them, especially as all ages kind of venues have disappeared in this town. I feel like a lot of the stores here just kind of serve a purpose for their community, and that has been a testament to their longevity for sure. I think if you were to ask people in record stores, they would probably say that we're doing our damnedest to keep the music industry alive. And if you were to ask people in the music industry, they would say, what record store are you talking about? I think as time has gone, we have kind of lost a lot of support that we normally would get from major labels that were kind of using us at a time to push their products. We used to have vendors that were assigned to us. They would have a rep come and visit us and kind of push this artist or push that artist. And as the music industry has struggled, those positions have just disappeared. And so we've kind of been left more to our own devices. I think the biggest challenge is, as opposed to a CD market where we would be able to return product for credit, when it comes to vinyl, it's final sales. So we don't have the option to return stuff that has not been moving for us. There are maybe one or two vendors out of the 13 or 14 vendors that we use that actually allow us to return new product that hasn't been selling. But if anything's going to kill record stores in general, it's that policy that the majors have of no returns on new products, because we just can't take a chance on something anymore. And if we do and it bombs, even bands that have traditionally been great sellers, they're going to have a dud eventually. And if we don't have the opportunity to return that, it certainly affects how we order things, and we try to approach things with caution. But you will find even during the holiday season, it becomes much trickier for us because there are so many pressing plants that are pressing the releases for the holiday season, including the Record Store Day Black Friday titles, that basically every release that comes out past September until the new year, I have to think about how much do I think is going to last me through the holidays, because if I run out of my initial 20 that I ordered, the chances of that being pressed in the next 2 or 3 months are pretty slim because the pressing plants are crazy busy. So in that respect, that certainly affects our bottom line. We haven't been able to get in the regular version of Queens of the Stone Age's last album since it came out. And we ordered 30 copies of that, sold out immediately. Now the only one we can get in is the deluxe version of that, which is like $55. So, you know, in that respect, yeah, we probably should have ordered more, but ordering 30 of copies of something is a lot of money for us. So it's just a bummer because, yeah, now we have been without the regular version for quite a long time. And same thing happened with the newest Neil Young that came out. Luckily, we just caught that in time so that we were able to get like emergency ordered 30 copies. And so now we have some of that stuff, and hopefully that'll be enough to last us through the holiday season. You know, it's not that we feel forgotten, and you know, there's certain, like, Warner will always send us the major label Warner will always send us some good stuff to give away to our customers, and in that respect, it's really nice. This morning, you know, I gave away the new Smiths box set on vinyl to a customer, and they also sent us and they also sent us the CD box set to give away, and they sent us an autographed Robert Plant LP, and so in that respect, we don't feel forgotten in that way. What we see is a lot of missteps that they do where we're just like, I don't understand that. Like, you know, there's a country band called Florida Georgia Line. They sent us a stand-up for it, and it's something that we maybe ordered one copy of new on CD. And it's just like, that stand-up probably cost you about $150 to $200, and you're sending it to probably a market where that album is doing well, but that does not fit the personality of our store at all. Nothing against that band, nothing against country music. We love all genres here, but it just seemed like, why would they send that? It seems odd to me. There's other labels that are kind of smaller that just aren't keeping track of who they're sending promos to. So oftentimes, if it's a newer band, I'll already have received the exact same amount of CDs that I ordered. I'll have already had that many promos sent to the store by that same artist. So it's like, now I just return these new CDs and sell these ones for, like, who's keeping track of this stuff? And it just seems like there could be a little bit more organization, and us not having a direct contact with labels is exactly why they send us that stuff, because the Florida Georgia Line stuff is because they don't really know what our store is like, or what the personality of the store is, or what our customer base is like. And that's what we really have lost with not having people that are actual vendors coming into the store. You know, I feel very, very fortunate to A, be working in a store for this long, and B, working in Portland, because I really feel like, especially the difference between coming from a record store in Southern California to the Pacific Northwest it's pretty drastic. And it's good to live in a city where books and movies and music are appreciated in the way that they are here in Portland, for sure. I think that the culture here has always been extremely supportive, especially when it comes to the arts. I really have not witnessed any other city that's like Portland. I see maybe hints of it in like San Francisco or New York or Chicago. But in general, I feel like Portland does it really well because, like I said earlier, I think they pay really good attention. This town has a really good attention span when it comes to who is their demographic, who is in their neighborhood, what do they like, what will they come into your store for. And on top of that, there are just so many great musicians that live in town locally that show a ton of respect and love to the stores. I mean, Steve Turner from Mudhoney is not only one of the nicest people I've ever met, but he is a regular at a lot of these record stores, not just ours, and consistently. And I mean, oftentimes I will forget, and then a newer employee will like freak out, like, "Is that Steve Turner from Mudhoney?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, he shops here." And people like the Thermals, the Decemberists, you know, Steve Malkmus from Pavement, pretty much all the ladies from Sleater Kinney. I mean, they've all been pretty much regulars and consistent, not just at this store, but at many stores in Portland. And I think that's just really cool. I remember first moving here and like geeking out at like selling a record to Steve Malkmus, who it seemed crazy to me to be working in a store where one of like my musical idols was like shopping. But it is like such a typical day in Portland and typical day working in a record store in Portland. I think just the combination of just having such a great music scene and having little small communities that serve and function their record stores very well has made it a a reality in this city that a lot of cities don't have. And I still, once again, feel very fortunate to be a part of that.